Greetings and salutations, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of The Tribe is Broken, your somewhat weekly, but also not, Survivor 41 recap show. I'm still Koopa. That's still Shannon. Shannon, how are you?
I'm good. The tribe is most certainly broken. We try to keep it weekly, but we're adults, so life happens.
Yeah, we're adults. We're also very busy adults. So it's been quite the spectacle. So at the time you guys listening to this, this episode right here. We're talking about episodes 4 and 5. The one for episode 3, which should have gone up a week ago, will also be going up today as well. So you guys are getting like 3 podcasts on the main feed today. So have fun.
Yay.
Go crazy, kids. Enjoy it. And, from the people I've talked to that have been listening to this, thank you. I hope you guys have been enjoying the show as we have been. So, yeah, Shannon, after we had a pretty slow episode 3 in which, we had to say goodbye to cattle rancher Brad. Things have definitely stepped up, and we were saying it's like we really hope the next week is a little bit more interesting. And these last 2 weeks have definitely delivered.
No, yeah, it's been the past 2 weeks have definitely been action packed. We'll get to it, but episode 5, we actually got our first double challenge, which I was not sure we were going to get with a shortened season, but we did finally get a standalone reward challenge, which was kind of nice. I like the challenges in Survivor. They're one of my favorite parts. So it was definitely nice to see 2 of them in an episode. Some drama though on the past 2 episodes, which we will get to. Episode 4, definitely. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a blind side. I mean, I think to this person it was a blind side.
Yeah, what we have seen in these last 2 episodes is the downfall of the Uwa tribe. As we'll be talking about episodes 4 and 5 this past week, where we say goodbye to 2 of my favorites on the season so far. Gone too soon, as JD and Jeannie are now pre-merge boots. The wheels have completely fallen off the Uwa tribe here, Shannon. And listen, it has been quite the spectacle, but listen, from the ashes rise the phoenix. And I think just a big picture thing before we get into like the specific scene by scene stuff. I think Shan has solidified herself still as my winner pick. I think she is playing the best game right now, IMO.
So, in my opinion, actually, it was funny. This really kind of blew up to me during episode 5. Ricard, low-key, strategy genius.
Yeah.
He's playing flawlessly, 100%. And he is going to, I think, do a lot for himself. Come next episode, where apparently we're supposed to have kind of a merge.
We really don't know. Yeah. Jeff says it's never been done before, so I think we're ruling out the whole Thailand situation where they tell you you're merged, but you're not really merged, but it's not a merge. My guess is that if we just take like a quick swing in the dark at that, I've heard some speculation of like they'll combine the Yase and the Uwa tribe, and then keep the Luvu tribe intact because they're the only tribe that's yet to go to a tribal council. That's an idea of what might happen. But,
and I mean, that definitely would reward Luvu for being so strong this whole time. So I wouldn't be mad at that. I mean, that's certainly different. That's certainly never been done before. I'm excited to see kind of how they switch things up with this new season. I didn't expect them to do a typical merge or tribe swap, so I think it'll be really exciting to kind of see the twist that they throw at these poor people.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely in the same boat. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen. Maybe it'll be a one world situation where they put both tribes on one beach. But again, that would also fall into the category of things they haven't done before.
Right.
I don't know. We will find out, around definitely past this time tomorrow. But yeah, again, kind of going back to the Uwa tribe in general. Again, back-to-back tribal councils, 3 tribal councils in a row pretty much where the tribe has been decimated. And yeah, listen, Ricard and Shan are out here to play. So these 2 are I think we got a best case scenario here of these 2 being the last 2 of the Uwa left.
Yeah.
And you maybe saw a little bit of a some cracks there in episode 5. But before we get there, we do have to get through the the JD vote. So let's talk it through here. We we pull up the recap again. 2 weeks feels like or again a week just feels like forever ago. But yeah, we got to see a little bit of some standalone challenging here. So let's take a look here. Yeah, because there were two. Were there two challenges in that episode? I'm trying to remember.
After episode 4,
Yeah. Was that the one for the fishing gear? I want to say that was the one for the fishing gear. Yeah, it was.
I'm not sure because all I remember is Luvu attempted in episode 4 to throw the challenge, or some of Luvu did,
Yes.
I should say. They didn't necessarily communicate that to the rest of their tribe the best. I feel like just 2 of them decided to throw the challenge. But Nasir, God, just powered through that whole challenge for them. Kind of made it impossible to throw. So that was definitely interesting to watch. What's your take on with the little tribes and all the consequences throwing challenges? Because I was happy to see it, but I also didn't know how I felt about it.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest plot points of this episode is that the Luvu tribe, I believe it's Erica that approaches Deshawn about, making a move against Sydney. Sydney coming off as, again, the unfair stereotypes that women face in these shows of being like unstable, moody, a little bit of a bitch. And Sydney's
she's
been
crying.
yeah. Sydney's definitely one to wear her emotions on her sleeve. So Erica again, very quiet this season. We haven't seen much of the Luvu tribe for obvious reasons because they've been winning so much. So they're all pretty invisible for the most part, at least in the first 3 episodes. And you see Erica approach Deshawn and be like, hey, listen, I'm a big game player. I want to start playing this game. I don't even have a torch yet. I want, she's kind of chomping at the bit, to make a move here. So she approaches Deshawn with the idea of voting out Sydney. Bad move on her part because I guess she didn't realize that Sydney and Deshawn and Danny are all part of this big power trifecta thing that they got going on. So that backfires in her face, and it's where the Luvu decides, hey, if we're going to a tribal council, we got to vote out Erica.
Yeah.
To the point where Deshawn's even like, what if we just throw the challenge? And again, that brings back to the original question of, is throwing the challenge worth it here? 9 times out of 10, I don't think it ever is. I think especially in these small situations, like in these small tribes, like we mentioned, you're still intact, potentially going into a merge with your 6. You have the numbers advantage, at least in your original tribe members. I think where there's definitely a stark difference in the women in this game. I believe, I think there's one more woman and there are men that are left in the season. There's 12 people left, so I think that sounds about right to me.
Trying to do the mental math.
Yeah, so there's all 3 of the guys, and then there's 4, and then plus Xander and Ricard. So yeah, So that's 5 compared to how to get to, that's 7 to 5. So if there decides to be, maybe if there's a one world pagonging,
right,
that's a possibility you have to worry about. I guess I think that's what Deshawn and Danny are worried about. But Danny, doing the professional athlete thing, being like, I don't know, I don't know if it's in my blood to throw a challenge.
Right.
So I don't know how you feel about it. I personally think it's not a good idea, just because it's important to go into these small situations with the numbers. I think having the numbers is still very important. And, it makes no sense to get rid of, if Erica decides to flip, sure. But it's one of those things where it's you still technically have the numbers, for the most part. And I don't really know if those people are going to be willing to flip right away. It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out in the next episode, what they actually end up doing. But how do you feel about throwing?
So from a actual, if I was on Survivor, I would be pissed. From a viewer, I'm not going to lie, watching Deshawn and Danny go as far as to re-tie the knots on the ropes without their tribe noticing tickled me. I just got the biggest kick out of that. So from a viewing standpoint, I love it. I think that was hysterical. If I was on their tribe or even in the game, I'd be pissed because I'm there to play, I'm there to win. But I think I can't lie, it makes good TV. Yeah. So I can't be that mad at it. Speaking of Luvu, we did finally hear from Heather.
Yeah, maybe not in the nature that we wanted to hear from Heather.
No.
Heather, so the reward challenge we get here is a Survivor favorite of mine. I know they've done this challenge in the past. I don't remember when they have. So what you're supposed to do is each tribe lines up, they throw a ball into a track, they have to navigate through an obstacle course and then catch the ball on the other side of the obstacle course. And then you have to kick out some sand, dig under a beam, and then you have to gently land the balls that you have on a perch.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to get like 3 of your balls or all your balls. I don't remember. But this is always one of my favorite challenges. This challenge is one of those ones where it's just like, it looks like it's really easy.
Right.
It's definitely not. And one person is always god awful at this challenge. And
unfortunately, that was Heather.
Yeah,
Heather
it was so
struggled.
it was bad. She was going through it. But again, this is the beauty of, and this is what I miss about having like reward challenges in combination with immunity challenges, is that you have to watch people, creatively sit people out. The old Survivor saying is that if you sit out the reward challenge, you have to participate in the immunity challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously wanting to avoid, putting Heather in a situation where it matters.
Yeah.
Sid even says, after Heather's like bawling her eyes out in the match, he's like, "It's just a reward." Like,
right.
like,
right.
Yeah. But how do you feel about these sort of these Survivor hanging people out to dry moments where somebody's just like so awful at a challenge that it's just like it becomes painful to watch?
Well, I think poor Heather has sat out a majority, if not all, of the immunity challenges this season.
This is true.
So it was nice to see her in a challenge. However, I think it did unfortunately show, so here's the thing, right? Speaking as someone who would probably be, let's be honest, in the same position as Heather, I'm not very athletic. I'm not very talented. Not everybody is built for these challenges. I'm just going to say it. Like, not everybody is built for the super physical challenges. Some people are puzzle people. Okay. Heather, for all we know, could be a fantastic puzzle person. We don't know because she hasn't participated enough. But some people are not physical challenge people. And, they have to participate. So a lot of the times, we end up getting those kind of very sad moments of watching them struggle. And then Jeff's like, "Come on, you gotta pick it up," and they're dying in the
dig
sand.
Woman.
Right? You gotta dig, Heather. Like, and Heather is like ready to pass out on the sand. So it's sad. It's one of the necessary evils of Survivor. I think everybody kind of has their bad challenge moment.
Yeah, no, for sure. And you feel bad for Heather again. She's been very invisible this whole season, like as most of the Luvu tribe has been, but she's been incredibly invisible. But again, she's on the winning tribe, and she has a good chance of making the merge, where a lot of the older people on the season have not been doing so well. Although herself and Tiffany are very much good position right now to do so. But yeah, it's you feel bad for her. It's not even like a Sari trying to swim across the platform situation where like you give her a chance to redeem herself, and
right.
like she does. Like, it's not like you're just gonna like keep sending her out there to like throw the thing into the track. Like it's quite upsetting, and it's just like this makes my skin like it's so uncomfortable.
It
is
like uncomfortable. No, it is. It's uncomfortable. So to just watch someone over and over, and their team's like, "Come on," and Jeff's like, "Come on," and they're just like, I'm literally trying my best. Like,
oh man, it was quite unfortunate.
I will say, speaking of Tiffany, how do you feel that Evie has now decided to work with Xander?
Yeah, that is the other major plot point coming from the Yase tribe this week. Is that very funny moment where Evie is narrating the previously on, which I thought was hilarious, and I even like edited it to where like they show the shots. Like I love Evie so much. They are so funny.
They are a treasure to this season.
Again, the Yase tribe has been winning lately, so it's like we get to see so much less of Evie. And Evie is great TV. Everybody on this tribe is very funny. But yeah, I don't see this as much as a surprise. It is a little strange that Liana's kind of the one falling out of favor. here, but Evie and is especially with Evie being one of the older people, being older than Xander. She's I think about 28, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, and Liana being one of the younger contestants on the show as a Xander. So I don't know, maybe just something clicked, when Xander keeps talking about dead relatives and butterflies that Evie just found useful. But also, I think it's one of those things where like I don't think Evie feels very threatened. Uh, Maybe it's one of those things where she feels more threatened by Liana and Tiffany,
Mm-hmm.
than they do Xander, because Xander up until this point still was like a sitting goose and like had no votes to play with. Do you think this is a good move long term for Evie to work with Xander instead of Liana and Tiffany?
No. I think Xander, while he's honest, and you can say, oh, well, he's so honest, you can trust him. I just see Xander as the type that could be very easily swayed post merge by other people. Whereas I feel Liana and Tiffany would be more loyal to Evie.
Yeah, this is true. I think the way that I'm looking at it here is like I'm looking at if I'm Evie, I'm looking at my options here. You're getting close to the merge. You think if in typical Survivor fashion, you usually merge after 6 votes. 12 is still a little too big for a merge, I think. So I feel like whatever's happening, they might end up they might end up merging at 11. I think
Mm-hmm.
that makes much more sense personally for what they're for going for in a 26-day season. So if you're Evie, I'm looking at it this way. It's like, okay, Xander has no vote, is like pretty physically okay. And, I think they're looking much more at Xander as like a scapegoat right now.
Yeah.
Tiffany's proven to be a very loose cannon. We've seen how, Tiffany really wants to
Yes.
play the game hard, much to, her, demise slash downfall. I think the Yasai tribe is very lucky to haven't gone back to a tribal council,
Mm-hmm.
in a while, because they've done very well for themselves. And, I think, you seem to, winning is the best deodorant. So I think they're willing to excuse a lot of Tiffany's like what's the word I'm looking for? Unhingedness,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
for the time being. And Liana, we've seen, she is a threat, especially, going into episode 5 where you get a great moment with her and Shan.
Mm-hmm.
Um I think if you're Evie, I think you kind of have to like surround yourself with the goats, and then, at least at that point, you have the numbers. And also, Xander does have that advantage that, you can potentially see a situation like what Chan does with JD, maybe with, Xander and Evie. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think it's one of those things where I think like, especially at this moment, at the moment of this happening, not knowing everything in retrospect, maybe not as much. But I think if you're Evie, I think there's a lot more you can play with Xander at that moment than you could
Mm-hmm.
with both Tiffany and Liana. So.
Yeah, no, I think Xander works for them right now. I think long term though, I would like to see them go back to kind of their original alliance. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to say. It really depends on what happens next week because if just Uwa and Yase kind of merge, it's definitely going to be interesting, especially because Liana and Shan now have that connection, which we'll get to from episode 5. That I do think is a more meaningful and long last. They seem to really click.
Yeah, no,
So
absolutely.
I think Liana would even choose Shan over Evie. So,
It's
um,
possible.
but let's talk about JD.
Yeah, so we will now go to the Uwa tribe for the for again the rest of the episode. So, starting things off, obviously Jeannie very upset after what happened. Uh, on the previous vote, feeling very blindsided by the Brad vote. She's not happy, and she definitely feels very much on the bottom here. And again, you understand why she feels that way. Nobody likes to be on the outside of a vote. It's not fun. It's not good for anybody. Uh, and we take a look at it here, and yeah, fortunately for Jeannie, JD, again, all season has been playing super hard, has been a major threat since the show started. And JD, unfortunately, just flying a little bit too close to the sun, I feel like, in this episode, and it finally got him burnt.
Yeah, there was a really, really funny moment. I think it was Shan called JD out. JD was the thrower of the sandbags. And I think he yelled money, or yeah, it says here money, and then Shan kind of goes off and said, "You yelled money before it was even on there, and look, now we lost and we look stupid." Like, so I think JD maybe started to rub his tribe the wrong way with how he was playing the game. I
Yeah.
think he got a little too big,
Yeah.
for kind of where he was in the game and his position, and that really rubbed his tribe the wrong way. And also keep in mind, before the last vote, it was discovered that JD had this advantage that he had hid from his whole tribe. So, unfortunately, I think in that moment it was the perfect storm and the perfect time for them to say, you know what, I think it's time for JD to go. Um, and yeah, that's what ends up happening. And to Shan's credit, JD leaves and his advantage is in Shan's pocket.
Yeah, this is what solidified me as, like, I think Shan 110% is my winner pick this season. She's got a great story. She's got, she's been the puppeteer for a lot of these big moves, and Shan's got that sort of like Kim Spradlin sort of like sort of charm where you truly believe that she's with you 110%,
Mm-hmm.
and then she guts you like a fish in the 11th hour. So JD, again, I think you saw a lot of big move-itis in him. Again, he came out the gate super strong, and that's great if your tribe's winning. When your tribe's losing, it's not good.
Yeah.
He proved to be a little bit of a snake, untrustful, rub people the wrong way. I think even in Brad's exit interview, he mentioned something that like JD also like kind of struggled like in the water, so like he wasn't
Mm-hmm.
like a great like swimmer in the
Right.
challenges, and he wasn't a great challenge performer either. He was up there, and I believe this is the challenge again. The Luvu tribe tries to throw it very unsuccessfully, as we see here. It's my favorite Survivor challenge, which is basically just horseshoes.
Right.
Everybody is swimming across these platforms to pick up these puzzle pieces. Then you have to like push with your body these logs through a track.
That was crazy. Can we talk about that? Like the way that Xander actually was using his whole chest and like pushing the logs through, like that actually not a lot on Survivor. Like really, you can see how hard it is through the TV, but like that one I felt. That one looked really difficult.
Oh yeah, no pun intended. I felt that one on my chest.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That was some crazy stuff. I imagine that had to hurt like a lot. Like trying to do like, you ever try to like hold up like textbooks like with your chest when you're like in college or whatever? Like it
Right.
sucks. It's hard. It's heavy. But again, the Luvu tribe tries as hard as they can to throw it, and they almost do. Deshaun and Danny, like you mentioned, taking their time in the water. Danny retying knots, or Deshaun retying knots in the bag.
I can't get over that.
Iconic, so funny. Like,
Iconic.
that was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, it looks like for a second that they're gonna successfully throw this challenge and go to tribal council, and then as Deshaun puts it, Nasir mans the challenge and absolutely just crushes it.
That was Nasir's challenge.
I'm so listen. I'm so happy we're 6 episodes into this season, 7 episodes into the season, and Nasir's still on my TV. He's been such great TV. We said it, and everybody said it in the pregame press. He was probably going to struggle a lot if this tribe like was losing early.
Right.
And I'm so happy it's not the case. I need Nasir on my TV for the rest of the season.
Well, and Nasir actually gets a big moment in episode 5 that we'll talk about that they really don't even show, and they just kind of spring on us at the challenge.
Yeah, and I'll give my take on that in a bit, because again, that's why I continue to watch the show, because it's great. But yeah, listen, we see JD kind of choke away the lead here. You see him with the money, trying to call the money shot, with his ring toss, and it comes up short. And again, tribe goes back to tribal council, and in an attempt to save his own life, Shan somehow convinces JD. It's like, hey, listen, I need you to prove that I can trust you. So you're gonna give me your advantage to hold on to, and JD does it. And I saw a
Mhm.
great tweet online. I think it might have been from Rick Devens because he's a great Twitter follow. But he posted a picture of Eric Reichenbach and JD with the meme from The Office that said both these pictures are the same. So,
Oh.
not definitely not to that extent, but yeah, JD essentially signs his only lifeline away in the game and doesn't roll his shot in the dark, and lo and behold, gets absolutely bamboozled here. Uh, at Tribal Council, and uh, yeah. Listen, what are your thoughts on JD? Because again, JD in the pregame press really impressed me. I
Mhm.
I liked his youth. I liked his energy. He was definitely kind of had that energy of like a new age, like like he wanted to be like one of the
Yeah.
nature boys, like Ozzy
Right.
and Malcolm, but fizzles out here as a pre-merge boot.
I think JD, and I was kind of fearful of this in the beginning when we were kind of judging everybody. Um JD, I think, had a lot of great ideas. JD had a lot of great people he wanted to play like. Um, I just worry for people who come into the game saying, I want to play like Russell. I want to play like this person. Da, 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 da. It's a very tall order to live up to, and I just
Yeah,
feel like
one hundred
even
percent.
subconsciously you're putting those expectations on yourself, and you're always trying to be at 1,000%. You're trying to go 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 go, and sometimes like one of the most powerful strategic tools can just be listening.
Yeah,
And I feel like that's really something JD lacked. He maybe needed to just not talk as much and listen more. um, I, I will give him this: very entertaining to watch on TV.
yeah.
Very entertaining.
No, yeah, great TV. And again, I hope if they ever do a second chance ballot with like all new players, I hope JD's is able to make a return. Again, we got 4 episodes of JD. Normal season we get 5 of them if there's not a double boot in the first episode.
Right.
I thought I think he was unfortunately gone too soon. But again, overplayed his hand a lot. Wasn't a great Survivor player. At least right now. But still very young. I would love to see him, like we mentioned, come back here. And this means we get one more episode with Jeannie because Jeannie's been an absolute treat
I love Jeannie.
all season. But again, episode 4, pretty cut and dry. Things went by pretty quickly. Nothing super crazy happened. Episode 5 is where things really, really get interesting. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get into the fun stuff here. So let me just pull up this recap right in front of me. So again, pretty basic stuff. We'll start off with just like the bigger picture thing. This is unfortunately the end for our pal Genie here
Very
on the
sad.
season. Very sad. So I know you were a big Genie fan. So how are you feeling after Genie getting cut here?
Just sad because I truly do feel like Jeannie, like the parts of her that we saw really pulled us in. I wish we saw more of Jeannie. Because I
Yeah.
just like, you ever just see someone, you're like, man, I can just tell they're a nice person.
Hmm.
That's what I felt like every time I saw Jeannie on my TV. I'm like, you just know they're the kindest, sweetest person, would never hurt a fly. Like, and I just love that energy that she brought. She was like the calm of the
Yes.
tribe. She stayed out of all the drama. Now, don't get me wrong, she definitely scrambled at the end, but that is kind of just what you do. Um, but no, I'm gonna miss her. I'm sad. But I do, looking at who we had left, I do feel it was an appropriate vote out.
Yes.
I just personally am not happy about it.
Yeah, it's what, like, personally I'm invested in it, and like I feel very I feel upset about it. Jeannie was been great TV so far. To spend 5 episodes with her was a treat. She was authentic, she was herself, and she was great. I was a huge fan of Jeannie as a player. Unfortunately, just kind of got bad, dealt a bad hand. Shan and Ricard are unbreakable at this point, and
Yeah.
though very questionable that they definitely could have broken there near
Yeah.
the end. We can kind of go into that a bit in a little bit, but unfortunately, a bad hand dealt here for Genie as a potential final two. Emerge here at the end, but we again, get back to the fun stuff here. Again, Jeannie waking up. Again, the big part of this episode is that the Brad advantage that was found was rehidden and found by Jeannie.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeannie, did the smart, questionable thing by telling her tribe about it, so that everyone knows about it. Maybe trying to garner some good fortune with Ricard and Shan, to maybe just build some trust there, and where she's very, again, fighting till the very end, trying to find a crack, very, very important. So,
Right.
they talk about it, and while I believe it's while Jeannie's out doing something or whatever it is, Shan ends up opening up the Beware advantage, but before doing that, giving her extra vote to Ricard,
Mm-hmm.
so that way at least someone can use the extra vote. God forbid something goes wrong. So
Yeah.
Shan, yeah. So how do you feel about this whole sequence? Because I thought this was strategic gold. I think Ricard and Shan are playing this game in 2024. They're on a
Yeah.
different planet
Oh
right
yeah, no,
now.
no. Strategic gold for sure. Mad for Jeannie because obviously, as we will later find out, they could have saved her. But definitely strategic gold of the likes that we've not seen before. So much advantage swapping going on. Just that was the big brain play. Like I'm just gonna call it how it is. Like
Yeah.
Shan giving Ricard her extra vote just in case the idol was not active yet and she lost hers. Like that's where I started to agree with you saying Shan might be our winner because that was impressive, honestly, to be starved and
Yeah.
hungry and still have enough like common sense to be like, oh here, let me give this to you just in case I lose my vote. Really good.
Yeah. No, she's great. So the whole sequence here, just to break it down for you folks at home, um, so obviously if you open a Beware advantage, you must do what's inside and or risk losing your vote. So obviously it is going to be the activation of the three immunity idols. You have to say a certain phrase at the next immunity challenge. If all three phrases are said, the immunity idols are activated. If not, you lose your vote, and you can't get it back until and you find out. Actually, I actually didn't notice until this episode that you lose your vote up until the merge, and
Mm-hmm.
then the idol becomes just a souvenir at that point. It becomes it's null and void at that point, which I like that because if you just made it to the merge and it just automatically worked, that's three immunity idols that are just like thrown in there. That completely
Right.
shifts the balance of power.
That's
So
a lot.
I do like that Survivor is putting an expiration date on these things, which
Mm-hmm.
is very important. Um,
Which, so to me, begs the question then, are we going to get some kind of idol post merge? One would
I
have
don't
to
know.
think because idols as of late have become a really kind of crucial part to Survivor. It's obviously we saw people looking for idols on day one. Um, so I would think, maybe there is some kind of I hope though they put some kind of a twist on it. Like it's a special post merge
Yeah.
idol
So I
with
think I think now that the idols are activated, I think now they're good
mm,
past the merge. I think it was only
mm.
if the idols weren't activated until the merge, then they're dead on arrival. Which,
Oh,
in my
okay.
imagine, I'd have to double check on that. I'm not totally sure. This is very confusing.
It is. It's
Like,
really confusing.
it's a lot, but yeah. So they open up the advantage, but they put in a fake idol inside the thing to make it look like that they didn't open it. So, but they did end up opening, and Ricard comes up with the great idea of like, oh hey, since we know what the phrase is, why don't we just say it at the next immunity challenge? Like, maybe see if somebody says it back. And Jeannie, none the wiser, is just like, yeah, that's a great idea. Why
Yeah,
don't we do
sure.
that?
Right.
And I'm
Yeah.
just like, they're so smart. These two
I
are
know.
they're so smart.
I will
It is a
say, like, I felt like really, really bad for Jeannie when, Jeannie just did not put it all together, after the phrases were said, like, oh, my idol should be active now. Where is that? That does make me sad, but.
Yeah, it's tough. Again, it's one of those things where like Ricard really sold it very well. We're just like, oh, we already know what the phrase is. Why don't we just like test the waters to see if we know?
Mm-hmm.
So that way we know who has it. You guise it as we're getting more information versus we're not. So So that's that stage is set there, and again, I love that we get to hear Shan's like inner monologue music again, where she does like the humming to herself.
I love
She's
that.
such a great character. I absolutely love that so much. So, but now we believe before we get to our challenge, we take another peek over at both tribes. The big story at the Yase tribe is that again, people are a little bit wary of the Xander and Evie relationship. So when both Xander and Evie are away, Liana and Tiffany go through his bag.
The controversial bag check.
Yeah, it's funny because they do it again. This season's done such a great job of like editing in like the little things. So
Mm-hmm.
you hear Evie and Xander talk about it because I think Evie's the only one that knows about Xander's extra vote. Or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think so. I think actually I could have sworn that they knew about that. I don't remember.
I'm not
Needless to say
sure.
though, I think there was some information lost on like what was what the extra vote was or whatever, or if he actually had it or not. So
Mm-hmm.
um, I think Evie's the only one that knows about it at this time. And they're talking about it. It's like, oh, did you bury your advantage or do you have it in your bag? And he's like, no, I have it in my bag, but like I sleep on my bag. And then as they're saying that, both Liana and Tiffany are going through Xander's bag, and then they find uh they find the extra vote. It's the immunity idol they don't know about, to my knowledge. They didn't know that he had
Mm-hmm.
the beware advantage. So they find that he has this idol and that he has to have the phrase activated. That's why he's been talking about these these dead relatives as butterflies every challenge. So Liana and Tiffany definitely not feeling great right now, knowing that Xander's got both these advantages and Evie's playing with them, and they could easily swing everything and vote them out. So they're definitely feeling a type of way about this.
Yeah. So the bag check. I've always kind of felt like I don't know how to feel about the bag check. While I think like yes, we're on Survivor, we're playing a game. I just don't know about the bag check. I don't know. I don't know about the going through the bag. And I know it's kind of always been a hot or cold. You either are for it or you're against it in the Survivor community. I don't know. How do you feel about the bag check?
I think it's within. I kind of like it. It's a little sleazy. It definitely if it's under the right circumstances, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's again, it's a dog eat dog world out there. I think
Right.
the part about this that is the most fun is Tiffany interrogating Xander about this, to getting Xander to lie about when he found the idol and
Mm-hmm.
catching him in the lie. And he's like, I'm hoping since because Tiffany works with children, she's willing to forgive me for being stupid.
That was great. No, that was
Yeah,
great.
that was very funny. But Xander again, kind of playing on borrowed time right now. And if he didn't get that idol activated, he would have been in some dire straits. So considering there might not be a merge coming up next, I think if you're Xander, you're feeling pretty okay
Yeah.
because you have your own vote back plus the access to your own advantages.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's definitely some cracks here in the Yase tribe. So I feel like whenever the merge time comes around, these guys are going to be chomping at the bit to flip on each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't think there's very much unity in the Yase tribe.
Yeah. So then, as we before we get over to that, we again switch back over to the Luvu tribe. The Luvu tribe again doing great, all things considered. They're still talking about throwing this challenge because Deshaun and Danny really want to get rid of Erica. They're
Mm-hmm.
not Erica fans in the slightest. And everyone's trying to paint the image of that Erica has the immunity idol that no one's found yet. Because everyone's pretty idol hungry. Everyone's been looking for it. Nobody knows who has it at this point. And again, they're still talking about throwing a challenge. So, again, not sure. My feelings have not yet changed on that. I think throwing the challenge is not good, especially when you have the numbers in these situations.
Mm-hmm.
But then we later come to find out that the immunity idol was not found by Erica. It was found by Nasir.
Yes,
With a great reveal on the mat. How did you feel about this editing sequence? Because I loved it.
the editing. First of all, the Survivor editors have always gone crazy,
Yes.
and this is one of those legendary moments for them. That was amazing when it just kind of looked like, oh, nobody's found it yet, and then they just do the flashback, and he says the phrase. That was editing gold, like 5
Yeah.
stars for that
I
sequence.
I love that they've gotten experimental with like not showing us every little thing. Like they did that with JD, or whether he actually risked his vote or not. They do it here with Nasir. They did that last season too with the fire tokens with Boston
Mhm.
Rob and Tyson, which made for great editing magic. But yeah, so you get to the immunity challenge. Jeff Probst does his thing. you know, everybody's, Ricard geniusly works in the whole broccoli thing about, broccoli is just small trees. Xander executes his butterfly thing. And then you hear the pause where Nasir almost, messes it up. And he's like, I feel like a goat on AstroTurf. And I'm just like, God, I hate this so much. Like, it's so stupid, but it works. So now all three of the idols are activated.
Mhm.
So it is Nasir, Xander, and Shan with advantage in tow. So very interesting, considering not my choice for the top three idol finders in this season for sure.
Yeah, I don't mind it right now. I think Nasir, I'm okay with that. I don't know. Really, the only one I wish like Evie had it as opposed to Xander. That's the one I
I
would
agree.
swap.
And again, we see in this year's sequence, like him very excited to talk about how his daughters helped him. Like his daughters would hide immunity idols around their house, and he would help. He would have to look for them without any clues. So love that. I think that's absolutely
It
fantastic.
was very wholesome.
Very cute, very cute. And yeah, and then we get to our immunity challenge here, the Survivor Classic. Going over the net. To this challenge always scares me because this is where people can like really hurt themselves.
Yeah.
It's a fun one here, but yeah, you go over the net, you collect some puzzle pieces, or you collect some sandbags after chopping up some machete, and then you do the giant slingshot.
The
So
slingshot.
this one's always one of my favorites. I don't know how you feel about this
I
one. It's
like the
fun.
slingshot. I do. I like it a lot. I think it's just so funny to watch them kind of squat down and do the giant slingshot.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, so this challenge comes down to one target. It is the Luvu tribe and the Yase tribe again come out on top here. Sending Uwa once again back to tribal council, Shan.
Poor Uwa. I mean, they looked good in the first episode, and then I don't know. Ever since then, they just kind of like the wheels fell off.
Yeah, again, when you lose hard. With these challenges, it's very rough stuff. So now we get to the end of this challenge, and then Jeff drops like, okay, because the Yase tribe finished first, they get to choose a member of the losing tribe to go on a journey. They end up choosing Shan. And then they get the option to send someone either from their own tribe, from another tribe on the journey with them, and they decide to send Liana. And then we get again in a season where we're probably not going to get a tribe swap, maybe. At least this is a great way to get like cross tribal relationships.
Mm-hmm.
As we've seen that Evie was very quick to give us information to Deshaun about the idol and the hidden vote. Um, you know, and now you see here Liana and Shan getting a chance to really bond here on this walk, and I think this could potentially be the blooming of a very powerful alliance.
I agree. This was the start of a beautiful friendship. I mean, they just got along so well. You can tell they want to play the game the same way. Liana's kind of been stuck with nobody to play it with. Shan, I think, kind of presents that opportunity for her, someone to play that game with. I'm definitely excited to see how this pairing develops post merge.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way, and we see a great package here about Shan talking about her getting mixed up in like the wrong crowd growing up, how it led to her becoming a pastor, reconnected with her mother after a long period of time, and then her mother passing away before coming out to the show
Mm-hmm.
about 5 years prior. And it's a great moment, especially considering how CBS has and reality casting in general has been pushing for more diversity in their casts. Seeing these two black women, absolutely killing it in their season so
Mm-hmm.
far. Shan has been great. Liana's been a challenge beast. She's been great TV, and you see Shan be very open about it. It's like, listen, if I am not here tomorrow, Ricard cannot be trusted.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's, and I think that's good awareness on Chan's part, knowing that she's eventually, she's working with Ricard. I'm sure they'll say their final two till the end, but one of them's gonna have to cut the other. And the
Right.
fact that Shan is already acknowledging that leads me to believe it's like, okay, she's the whole package right now. She
Yeah,
gets it.
and she knows. Thank God she knows that Ricard, really. I kind of picked up that vibe the past couple episodes. Really cannot super be trusted. I see the sneaky in him for sure. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that Shan sees it as well.
Yep. So again, we get to the classic part of Ship Wheel Island, where one person must risk their advantage. If they risk your vote and the other person doesn't, they get an advantage. If they both risk their votes, they get loser votes. If they both save their votes, nothing happens. Shan, obviously knowing that she has to go to tribal council, is not going to risk her vote,
Right.
leaving and even telling telling Liana that's like, hey, I ain't doing shit with this. You
Right.
can risk
Take
your
it.
vote. Yeah.
Right.
So, Liana now gets the aforementioned, and I believe, let's see if I'm remembering this correctly. Let's see, the knowledge is power advantage. What's your take on this name?
Are these okay? You ever play like the Binding of Isaac?
Yes.
These advantages are like straight out of the Binding of Isaac. Like the names are killing me.
That is, yeah, it's so funny. They definitely have to get better at naming these things for sure.
Yeah.
It's not ideal. So basically, what this advantage grants is that uh, Liana can go up to any contestant in the show, and if they have an advantage, and she calls their bluff on it, they cannot lie to her, and they have to give her the advantage.
Hmm.
This I don't know how I feel about this, because in another Survivor season where, like, you can find these idols and like be very sleuthy about it, to where a person has to, like, take a legitimate shot in the dark, no pun intended,
Right.
to find these things out, I'd be on board with it. But because I feel like I'm a little more sour on it, because, like, she knows that Xander has the immunity idol, so if she just goes up to Xander and be like, "Oh, I know you have an advantage, give it to me."
Right.
So it's going to completely screw Xander over. Obviously, because he has two, I think he'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
But also, knowing that, the other information that Liana knows, she could use this on pretty much anybody that, if she understands what the context clues are. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of, like, since everything's already like out in the open, like it feels a little like underhanded to like give someone an advantage to, like, you know, take that, and the other person just straight up can't lie about it, which is kind of
Right.
dumb.
I don't love the whole like, oh, you have to give it away. You cannot lie about it. When Survivor's kind of all about being deceitful and trying to be sneaky, and now it's like, well, you can't lie about this. You just have to give it away. Sucks to suck.
Yeah, so I'm fully anticipating Liana screwing Xander over with this. So
Oh
I
yeah.
expect to see Liana with a immunity idol or an extra vote in her possession at some point. But listen, this could be a good relationship here. If Shan and Liana can keep this under wraps for a long enough time, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's very, very possible that this could go very, very well for them.
Yeah, no, I think they could be a solid two together, especially considering, Shanna's already at the point where she knows she can't trust Ricard to the end. I could see her kind of making Liana her go-to.
Yeah, and if they can keep that a secret from everybody, forget about it.
Right.
They'll be in business for sure, knowing that they could potentially they both have advantages and plenty of
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
they'll definitely be good to go there. So we take some scenes back from the Uwa tribe, where Ricard is trying to sow doubt into the mind of Jeannie to maybe give her a false sense of security, but it sounds like there's some truth behind those words as well. He's like, yeah, like, I'm the one that's coming up with the ideas. She's the one that's getting all the credit for it. It's like, very upsetting when it's a man, not getting the credit
Right.
for a move. But if it's a woman, no, never once happened. So
Right. And I feel like that's the unfortunately kind of a story we see spun on Survivor a lot when you have a man and a woman pair is the man kind of always likes to go to that. That well, she's getting all the credit, but it's really me. It's me. I mean, look at Tony and Trish on Kagayan, how Tony treated poor Trish or Trisha.
yeah, so upsetting. God bless her. I'm so sad Kaguyan's coming off Netflix. That she's
I
so good.
know. What a legendary season.
But we're getting some good ones in return. So I mean, we're getting
Yeah.
We're getting Micronesia and David versus Goliath, which are two great seasons. So yeah. So, we see Ricard trying to sow the seeds of doubt in Jeannie, kind of give her that false sense of security, But, for a while, it really makes you think, Shan feeling a little bit paranoid about what Ricard was saying about her. Shan almost completely blows her game up when she gets back here, Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's scary what
She
she almost was
loses it
able
a
to
little
do.
bit. She almost fumbled the bag on that one, for sure.
Definitely, yeah, almost fumbled the bag real hard, getting very paranoid that, she's like, oh, I'm trying to pull the JD move on Ricard, and Ricard very smartly calls her out about it. Shan's like, hey, listen, give me that extra vote back so I can prove that, you can prove you're loyal to me. And she's like, why would I do that? Because then, like, I have no leverage and you have no reason to keep me.
Mm-hmm.
And, Ricard very, smartly says, like, you're being paranoid right now. Like, just trust me, I'm going to give it back to you.
Tomorrow. You can have it tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can have it tomorrow when you're here. And Shan feeling, quite some way about that. So almost completely blowing her game up here for the sake of an advantage. So that was maybe the first misstep from Shan this whole season, where she's playing maybe a little bit too much with her head and trying to maybe pull the wool over Ricard's eyes right there. Because I think if that works out, Ricard gets voted out here. IMO.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree.
But yeah, so we eventually get to our tribal council after some shenanigans. No pun intended again. And yeah, what feels like maybe some suspenseful moments. I think listen, if at this point you're not going to play your shot in the dark, first and foremost, what are you doing?
Right.
Like,
I think Jeannie for sure. Like, this was the time.
Yeah, she fucked up by not doing this. Like,
Yeah.
she made a huge mistake not playing her shot
And
in the dark.
it kind of makes me wonder, like, is anybody gonna do it?
I think they're gonna have to at some point. I think once we get to the individual game, that there might be more of an incline to do that. I think at least one person's gonna do it this season. Otherwise, they'll just never do it again, and I'll live.
Yeah,
I'll survive.
I'll live too, honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, again, there's a little bit of suspense, but in hindsight, it all ends up being a 2-1 vote. Jeannie is eliminated, and yeah, I'm still very sad about it.
Yeah, I mean, sad, but I also feel like kind of as we watched Tribal, the writing was on the wall.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. So yeah, that's it for these 2 episodes. Again, pretty straightforward. Nothing super crazy happening yet. But then we get this preview for next week. That are we merging or are we not, Shannon?
I think in my gut, what my head is telling me, kind of what you said, they're just gonna merge the 2 and then keep Luvu as their own. Maybe we'll see. I don't know. It's Survivor, and Jeff is a madman, and we'll just come up with things. So
I just came up with a great idea of what I think they're gonna do.
Okay.
So I think they're gonna reward Luvu by being the most successful tribe.
Mhm.
I think everybody from Luvu makes it to the merge. So I think they're safe from the tribal. They're safe from whatever is going to be coming next. I think they combine Ua and Yase, but they make them compete in the challenge. And they them compete as a single tribe or individually against each other for individual immunity, and then they vote out whoever's left. So you combine them, again, these 2 tribes that don't know each other, on the day of, make them compete in a challenge, and then force these people to coexist and strategize together, and then see what'll come of it. So I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna move. Yeah, I think they're gonna advance the Luvu tribe on, onto the merge, and then force the other 2 tribes to fight for that last spot, or to fight for those last however many spots. I think it's 5 spots. Yeah. So that's what I think.
That's
personally.
A good idea. No, I like that idea. I'm a fan.
If I'm right, I'm gonna be fucking freaking out tomorrow.
Play the lottery.
I might. The winning number is 6. Yeah. Any other thoughts on these last 2 episodes? Again, we've been going for almost about an hour, so probably about as long as I thought we were going to. So
yeah. I think I think we're picking up the pace, which is good because episode 3, like I said, really for me didn't do it. So happy that we're picking up the pace. Happy that we're getting into it. Excited for tomorrow to kind of see what the twist is on this merge situation. Excited to see what Jeff pulls out of the bag. And just kind of really pulling for Shan, really pulling for Evie.
I'm pulling for all the women in this season. I think at the end of the day, my big picture thing is that I think a woman wins the season because the women are just playing circles around the men right now.
I know 100%.
Like
100%.
I feel like Nasir is just like still like I think Nasir's is here for the joy of the experience. I think him just being on the show is good enough for him. I think Danny and Deshaun are too busy trying to throw the challenges to like focus on what's happening around them. I think the women are going to get together and they're going to absolutely like dominate these,
Yeah.
the men. So
No, I agree.
yeah, but yep, that's going to be it for this episode, folks. So again, if you feel so inclined to follow the social media page, this is going to be going up again at Koop'd Pod. Check us out across platforms. I'll post a link tree down below where you can listen to us on all your favorite platforms: Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you feel inclined to do so. And Shannon, where can the lovely people find you?
@_shenanigans with a Z at the end on Twitter. I always
Yeah,
say this. Twitch TV coming soon.
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 Shannon's a funny follow. Everyone should follow her.
Yeah, I have my moments.
You're funny. You can follow me across platforms at Koopa NJ. And yeah, listen, this is fun. Thank you guys so much for watching again. Stay tuned for the next episode of The Tribe is Broken. Thank you so much for joining us tonight, folks.
Bye-bye.